When we started this podcast 5 years ago, one of the top people on our wish list was Mr. Jaime Licauco. I grew up reading his articles on the local newspaper, and you could say part of my interest in the paranormal was formed by reading Sir Jaime's articles. You could say this special episode is my experience with the paranormal coming full circle. Sir Jaime talks about when it all started for him, what he believes about Lemuria, and his experience on extraterrestrials. Enjoy. First of all, thank you for for allowing us to talk to you. It's a real honor for us, sir.
Yes, welcome.
We'd like to start with a few questions
Sure.
with regards to the start of your journey. I've read most of your articles online and on the newspaper before pa. And you briefly touched on it that I think after you were married, you tried to do a masteral on it. But personally, when did this interest or did you have experiences when you were younger?
Naku. What a question. It's a difficult question. Really, it's difficult to say when it started, the interest. In the 1970s, after my graduation from AIM, I took my master's degree in business management. And about 72, I graduated. 74, 75, I got interested in researching on the faith healers
Yes.
of the Philippines. Because, I'm intrigued by things that cannot be explained by science. Things like how can some people tell the future when it's still not happening? No? How can people describe something which is not in front of him, very far? These kind of things. How can some people walk on fire without getting burned? I'm interested in this, because there's no scientific explanation. So I said, I wanted to know why. What's the rationale behind these things? So I started observing the faith healers of the Philippines. It was 1974, 75. And in 76, I wrote a book, a whole book on the faith healers. And that was where it began. It started as a curiosity on my part, and also to find out whether there's any truth to all this.
Yes.
Because all the people in the scientific field, academic field, saying this is not true, this or trickery, this is all nonsense. Well, I can tell you for the fact, after 10 or 20 years of studying this is true.
Yes.
These are valid. I can prove it. I have scientific, I have x-rays, I have ultrasound proof that psychic surgery exists, but they're not always there. I mean, sometimes there may be some fraudulent things. Yes, but I have about 5 cases where I can show medically that they're genuine. So those people who have been criticizing or skeptical about these things, about ESP, telepathy, clairvoyance, and telekinesis, have never really investigated the evidence, the proofs of this. They just yuck, but without actually investigating.
Yes.
And this is the whole, James Randi, for example, is one example of a very good guy who's always objecting to anything psychic. He asked me, how come you don't want to take this, yung bear niya of $1 million to prove I have psychic powers?
Yeah.
I said, Randy, I don't have to do that because there's a lot of information. For the past 100 years, there's a lot of information, evidence, scientific. You never try to look at them.
Yeah.
There's no need for me to prove it. So I said, he shut up. Well, he died recently, si James Randi died. May he rest in peace. So that's how it began, as a curiosity. I wanted to find out, is there any explanation? And now I know. Now I can tell you what is this? How telepathy happens? How telekinesis? I'm teaching this how to do these things.
Yes.
And for the past so many years, since 1988, I've been teaching people how to do this, and successfully. So this is how it began. As a curiosity, it was really as a hobby.
Yes.
But it became an obsession for me. And I look at so many things, not just that, but anything that cannot be explained by science, I am very interested. Ghosts, for example, how can some people see? I have seen ghosts several times. One time, 3 ghosts even accompanied me in an elevator in Makati. I have talked to spirits.
Yeah.
Ang dami experience. When you experience something, it is very difficult for somebody to dissuade you that it is not true.
Yes.
But if you have this, for example, you believe in ghosts, If you have not seen a ghost, you will not believe it. And you are
Yes.
correct. I mean, I agree with you if you have not
Okay.
seen. But I have seen. I have talked to them. And I have received information from the dead, which were verified by the recipients, of these messages, about 6 or 7 of them, actual messages, handwritten pa. No?
Oo.
So that's the answer to sorry, I had to talk long.
It's okay, sir. We want to listen to you talk about it. But to give you also a background on our podcast, we actually interviewed a few people. And again, I feel I could relate to your curiosity because for me, when I read your articles in the Inquirer before, that's where the curiosity started. And of course, I had Hayaya who was from Capiz and she had stories of aswangs and capres and
That's
all
one
that. And
country.
yeah, aswang country. So
I don't believe in it, by the way. Okay.
I don't believe in aswang, sir.
No, no, there's no proof.
There's no proof yet.
There
Yes.
is no proof. I believe in duendes, kapre, no. I believe in nature spirit. Meron talaga, may proof dyan.
Yes. So
Yung aswang, I've been to Capiz twice, no? And to Rojas City.
Rojas City, yes.
And looking for aswang. I never found any. Never met one. And so I cannot believe it yet. No?
Oo.
I'm not saying it's not true, but to me, it's still a question mark.
The people we've talked to who are sensitive, most of them, when asked about aswang also, they haven't experienced. So we interviewed this girl before who could see spirits, but she could not see elementals. And she's
Yes.
very interested in
Oo.
seeing aswang. Kasi yun nga, she could see spirits, she could talk to them,
Yes.
pero aswang, wala. Wala talaga siyang proof. Same, oo.
That's it. That's what I'm saying. No, it's a legend.
So what are your theories with regards to that, sir? With regards to aswang? Para oral history lang siya na,
These are myths. No? There
okay.
so many myths like the Greek mythology, Norse mythology, Egyptian mythology, and the Filipino mythology. These are legends, no? What you call the urban legends that we don't have proof of, no? But they are believed in by people. So these are urban legends.
Okay, sir. I will deep dive into my my favorite topic na the seed of the idea came from one of your articles also. When you mentioned that when you were studying the faith healers and you're trying to relate how come some Filipinos in the far south, Samar, Leyte area, seem to have different abilities. A lot of the people we've talked to who have abilities, not all of them, but a lot who we've talked to, medyo dun sa area na yun, sir, nanggagaling. So, Samar, Leyte, Cebu, and which brings me to Biringan and that lost city. So, my theory, based on your theory, is that they are descendants of whatever advanced race that was. Is that the same thing you believe, sir, or do you have?
Yes, but they're not just faith healers. I'm talking about all the types of healer specialists, like surgeons. So why is it that it exists only in the Philippines
Mm-mm.
and Brazil? The psychic surgery, especially faith healers, we have a lot of all over the world.
Yes.
I distinguish faith healers from those who can do psychic surgery with their bare hands or with some instrument. There are only 2 countries in the world that does this, no, psychic surgery: Brazil and the Philippines, and both are Catholic countries, no? And both have a tradition of spiritism, of spiritualism. Why is it that only Pangasinan, the Ilocos region, the northern Luzon area, are there so many of these healers, but not one in the south, except
Okay.
Cebu? There is a migrant from Emilio La Purga, who came from the north,
Mm-mm.
who transferred to. He's no longer there. He's all the time in Argentina. I brought him there once, and he kept on going there because earning a lot of money up to now.
Okay.
So, but there was nobody in the south doing psychic surgery.
Okay.
All of them. So the question was asked of me, why? And there's so many theories behind it because Pangasinan has salt, no salt is healing, etc. My theory is that it's because the basis for the study of psychic surgery was introduced in the north and central Luzon through the book that was translated into Tagalog and Pangasinan language or Ilocos language. This is the book of Allan Kardec on the spirits, the book of spirits and the book of mediums. This is the basis of spiritism in the Philippines. It was translated only in Tagalog and Pangasinan. That's why it became prominent there. No, because these are descendants of Lemuria. Now, I cannot prove to you that Lemuria existed, but It did. It
It did.
existed.
So you believe also the fact that probably Lemurians were closer to their spirituality. They were more open spiritually, that they could access their psychic skills with regards to, of course, surgery and precognition and all that.
Yes, Lemuria was a very advanced country. People were good in psychic powers, in telepathy, and spirituality. The Atlanteans were also there, also very advanced in psychic ability. But the Lemurians are more spiritual. They have more spiritual powers. And the Philippines was part of Lemuria. I have a book which is called The Secret Knowledge, the Book of Enoch by James Hurtak. I don't know whether you're familiar with that. And there is a map that this book was channeled, was given to him through the spirit. And there is a map of the world during that time. And it shows that the Philippines is in the center of Lemuria. It shows there in the book. See? And that's what James Hurtak and I became friends, because of this common interest. James Hurtak is the president and founder of the Academy for Future Science in Los Gatos, California. He's very well known, very well respected scientist. He has 2 or 3 PhD degrees, this guy.
So that kind of explains why there are a lot of, again, the more we talk to people anonymously, because people reach out to us anonymously because when they open up about their experiences, they want to remain anonymous because of, I'm sure you know na,
Mm.
because of our religion and our family members, they will not accept. They
Yes,
tend to judge. So
yes.
the people we have who talk to us, we realize lang na, sir, ang daming gifted, meaning either psychic abilities with regards to seeing ghosts or seeing the future. Parang merong common gifts for all. Parang lumalabas psychic, sir, who can see ghosts. They can also see auras from time to time, depending on their openness. They can also see the future. That those three are constant with people who seem to see spirits. I'm not sure if you have observed the same, sir.
Yeah, yes. And, I'm lucky, because I have met some of the world's greatest psychics of how to call it, the best of the best,
Yes, yes,
in the world. I have met Uri Geller in
yes.
Dusseldorf in 1994. We were together for 3 days in a conference. And that's Uri Geller who can bend spoons and
Yes.
all this kind of stuff. He's so famous. He has 2 jet planes and 2 mansions in England and in Germany. And we have become friends, And this guy is amazing. As during the conference in Dusseldorf, he demonstrated something which is more remarkable than bending spoons. You know what he did?
What, sir?
He was able to germinate radish seeds in his hand by telling the seeds to grow, grow, grow. And his hand was extended in front of him with all cameras focused on the hand. And he never moved his hand. Now, if it's sleight of hand, yung quick ano lamang,
Yes. Oo.
he will just duplicate it and all that, put in substitute. He has to move his hand. But he did not move his hand from beginning to end. And we saw there were about 10 seeds that he placed there. And he said, everybody say in English, grow, grow, grow. And after about maybe less than a minute or maybe 1 minute, one of the radish seeds started to germinate up to 1 or 2 inches. We saw it. Everybody was there. He was not moving his hand. If it is sleight of hand, I don't know how he did it.
I remember a story, sir, when I was young. I think you mentioned that in one of your articles. Na we would also do it in our house. If the TV would not work, we would close our eyes and just say, work, work. Because I think I read it from one of your articles.
Well, you know why? You have to be at a certain level of the
Yeah.
brainwaves. You
Yes.
have to be at the delta level of the brainwaves to be able to do that.
What we've also learned from the sensitives we've talked to, they say that the power of thought and intention in that plane, in that dimension, our power also is that strong. Some sensitives who dabble with this, they tell us na para you can shield yourself. Even if just using your thought, your imagination and intention, you can shield yourself. And I think that's related to how Yuri Geller with this
Yeah.
intention in his ano.
Yes. Intentions can affect physical objects. This is now admitted by quantum physics. Our consciousness, awareness, and intention can affect physical objects. This is no longer a question.
So I will switch naman, sir, to the, let's say, extraterrestrial, if you
Okay,
don't mind. Okay, sir.
fine. Anything under the sun, you can ask any
Okay.
questions.
What we've noticed actually, the more we talk to sensitives, they also it also somehow delves into that aspect of the extraterrestrial. So parang nare-realize namin kala na syempre kami parang ghosts and elementals lang kami. And then eventually they will tell us, oh, there are extraterrestrial beings around us. And they are some of them, yun nga ang isa nakausap namin, sir, she's a light worker in Denmark, and she was telling us that she could communicate with some of them.
I believe that.
Baka you, you can share, sir, with regards to
What
your
what
thoughts
that I
on that.
believe with
Yes,
extraterrestrials?
yes, sir.
Yes, they have been here for so long, millions of years ago. They were here on Earth, and they have left monuments. They have left artifacts that cannot be explained by archaeologists, all over the world, and also maybe in Africa, in Peru, in South America, in Mexico. They have left monuments, and even in Egypt. No, the pyramid, for example, cannot be
Mm-hmm.
explained
Yes.
given the tools available at that time. It's not possible to build a pyramid. Even at this time, there were several attempts to build a pyramid with our modern equipment, and they could not do it. So how it was done, nobody knows. And it's perfect. No, the dimensions and all that refer to the dimensions of the Earth, the circumference of the Earth, and also in the equator and all that. If you multiply certain values in the pyramid, they all refer to the geometry of the world, and also above in the sky,
Yes.
the Orion star,
Okay.
and
Oh,
to
yes.
Sirius. No, the chamber, the Queen's chamber is aligned to Sirius, and the King's chamber to Orion. No,
Okay.
at the time. So there is a connection between the positioning of the pyramid, even the where it was located,
Yes.
strongest magnetic area of the Earth. No,
Mm-mm.
so all of these things, no, where they get this knowledge.
Yes.
So even though they don't believe in this, the evidence is so so
So
evident.
clear.
So, but let me express something. I'm not uh, asking people to believe me. I'm not interested in converting people to my way of thinking.
Mm-hmm.
You can accept or reject what I'm saying.
Yes.
It doesn't bother me because I'm not interested in converting you
Yes.
and saying you should believe me. No, you can reject what I'm saying. It will not bother me because I have my own reasons for believing this, and you can have your own reasons for not believing it, and there's no quarrel with that. No, neither of us are wrong. That was right. It's just a difference in interpretation. So I'm not bothered by people who say, "Okay, that's nonsense." That's
Mm-mm.
nonsense.
Yes.
From his point of view, that's nonsense. He's correct
Yes.
from his point of view.
From his point of view.
But from my point of view, Ibaso, I don't care.
Mm-mm.
If it's nonsensical, that's your point of view. I respect that.
Sir, I'd like to ask your if your opinion. If you've been observing this also. So, we've talked to this exorcist recently, start of this year, because we had a guest who asked for help. She felt her children were seeing spirits. She could also see spirits, but she doesn't want to see them. Anyway, she asked an exorcist if he could help close the third eye of the children. We got to helping her, and the exorcist said, for some reason this year, with regards to the frequencies, for some reason, the frequencies are mixing this year. That's why a lot of people are experiencing sightings of spirits, encounters with elementals. I'm not sure if you've had that same experience or heard of it also, that this year, particularly, there's some shift in I guess, the dimensions, the fifth and the fourth dimension.
Well, scientifically, there was a slight shift in the axis of the Earth,
Yes, I
which
saw
was
that also.
predicted by Edgar Casey, that there will be, I can't remember the exact, in the 1980s, no, that the Earth's axis changed, which created also a differences in the magnetic field, no, and thereby affecting our consciousness in some way. Also, there is this cycle of, I think, every 2,600 years, this cycle of yuga, no, the yuga called the yuga in Hindu,
Mm-mm.
which is every 1,600 years there's a change or shift. So we are actually in the age of Kali, of confusion and all that and doubt and etc. We are going into the area of Yuga, of Aquarius, where there will be greater freedom of choice, there will be greater consciousness and ability to reach into the higher levels of consciousness. The people that are being born in at this time are more psychic than those that are born before. These are they call it the indigo children.
Indigo children. I've heard of that. Sir,
Yes.
have you heard about the? It's very malapit na siya, sir. Again, this information came from the light worker we talked to, who believes in this, and she believes she's talked to them. May 26, this May 26 supposedly is the shift. 26 to June something is the shift supposedly. She sends us material from an Indian who channels messages from Pleiadians, I think.
And the Pleiades. Yes.
And they're saying that May 26 is the start of the shift.
I'm not aware of the particular date, but I believe in the Pleiadians messages because I myself, believe it or not, got a message from the Pleiadians in the 1980s. And if you're interested in that, the one who channeled, there's a book called Bringers of the Dawn by Marciniak, Barbara Marciniak, which is a book on the messages of the Pleiadians to the Earth people.
Sir, I've also heard your experience with you talked about it in your Facebook channel about that experience with the rock, where you touched the rock, I think.
Oh yes. Well, this is where I met the ET in Lucban, in Ciudad Verdadero, a mystical place, privately owned, and it has a lot of mystical events happening there. If you go there, you meet a lot of things that are unexplainable. The most highly skeptical people I brought there, and my God, they changed overnight, you know, because of talagang it's a mysterious place. And I went into trance, and there's a big boulder there, big, about 6 feet high, 3 feet wide, and I don't know width, no, and if you touch it, it vibrates, no, and anybody who touches it feels something different. One time I went into trance and I went out of my body. I was inside that boulder. I was inside, and I met an ET, a female extraterrestrial. She has usual features of what we see in the movies or what we see in the books, of a big head, uh, big almond eyes, black almond eyes, small nose, small mouth, long hands, no, all that. She was completely naked, but there was no breast, there was no female breast, no, she was flat na ganyan. And she has a rubbery gray skin,
Mm-mm.
completely hairless, which is the description of this,
Grace,
the
ano, sir?
grays. No?
Yes, the
This is the
grace.
most common ET that's been seen by so many people, is the
Yes.
gray. They call it gray because their skin is gray, rubbery gray in
Mm-mm.
color. She was very pleasant looking. She was not scary at all. And she welcomed me there inside and said, I'm sorry at this time, I cannot bring you down. I felt there was something very, very deep. I could see only up to the waist. From the waist down, it's completely dark. And said that next time you come here, I will bring you down. So I thought I was just dreaming. It was just imagination. Until at noontime, when I talked about what we experienced, I said I saw something. And another person in our group said, oh, I also see something. And I asked, what did you see? And he described exactly what I saw. So I knew I was not imagining things because another person saw what I saw, that woman, gray, ET. So I have met an ET. And I have told this to James Hurtak, who believed in me and said there are really such things.
Sir, do you believe that some of them have actually crossbred with humans?
Um, I'm not sure about that because it's possible. Well, remember that in the Bible there was the Watchers, the giants who mated with the Earth people,
Mm-mm.
the Anunnakis, the
Yes.
Anunnakis, and they mated and they created giants, no. But also there have been stories of elementals marrying or intermarrying humans,
Yes.
and they become half human and half elemental. So I have heard stories like this. And there's somebody I met who claims he is partly Encanto
Really?
and partly human. So, but you see, if you read, I forgot his name now, 15th century mystic and scientist, Paracelsus.
Okay.
Paracelsus was the one who actually enumerated, no, classified these different elementals, and he said that they can intermarry humans, no. So there is half breed. That's according to him.
My theory with regards to that is some people who have highly attuned psychic gifts, meaning I know this person who could see ghosts and see elementals at the same time. And one of his stories was he could, in the morning when he wakes up, he looks at the tree and there's something in the tree waving at him. Most of the sensitives we talk to, they have different gifts, meaning
Oh
some could
yes,
only just see spirits, but some see the whole spectrum.
you know, one of the most interesting experience or stories I heard. I went to Iloilo when I
Mm.
was when I wrote a whole book on dwarves and
Yes.
elementals, and in my this based on research. And in Iloilo, I met a farmer, an almost 70-year-old farmer, who told me this story. Well, he was riding a carabao. At one point, there is a in the middle of the field there is a mango tree, and the carabao didn't want to go there. Was agitated. And then he saw a capre. He was smoking a cigar or a cigarette, and they became friends. One time, he said he had a cigarette. No, he went to the field, but he forgot the matches. No, then he met this kapre friend of his. Nakisindi siya, no? Kasi merong sigarilyo yung
Oo.
kapre. And he was able to light his cigarette. No? Sabi ko, oh, come on. No? Sabi niya, totoo ito. Sabi no, nakalight. So, I mean, this kind of things fascinate me. I don't know whether that's true or not, but why would he tell that story if it was not true, no? Nakipagsindihan siya sa
Sa
kapre.
kapre.
Eh, nakasindi yung kanyang, nasindihan yung kanyang sigarilyo.
Sigarilyo.
No? How will believe that? Di ba?
Yes. That's true. We also actually talk to other, parang sensitives from other nations just to check ano yung elementals na meron sa atin na meron sa kanila. Pero what we noticed is, again, this could again connect to that idea na the power of intention, the power of thought. Parang mas malakas and mas nakikialam yung mga elementals here sa Philippines. We heard the story of Black Duende supposedly influencing the business of the house they were in. So mas influential sila here sa Philippines compared to other countries that they're in.
No, I don't believe. The reason why you don't hear so much about them abroad, because many don't believe in this and they don't talk about it.
Yes.
Filipinos are more open and they talk about their experiences. So you think that they're more active here. That's not true.
Okay.
It's the same all over the world, but they just don't talk about it. In the Western world, they don't talk about these things because they're very scientific and very skeptical. So they don't want to. They hide this because their reputation will be at stake. You know, they will be said that they're crazy and all that and very embarrassing. So they don't talk about these things. You know? But here there are more stories about it. So you think that it's more active. That's not true. It's active all over the world.
Okay.
No?
So you've heard stories, sir, of the same elementals around the world also.
Oh yeah, especially in Thailand. We have the same. You know? In Indonesia, we have the same stories.
I'm trying to see lang kasi when we talk to the other countries rin, we try to see meron rin ba silang tikbalang? Meron rin ba silang kapre?
Iba. Oh, mas maraming variety dito.
Oh.
Kasi in Ireland, for example, they call it the leprechauns.
Oh, Ireland, sir, actually, oo. Very
And
similar.
they call it leprechauns. So these are the duendes. They're very similar. Eh? They're all over the world. That's why, I cannot understand why scientists, academicians, religious people don't believe in it when the evidence is so widespread. No, it just open your eyes. It's there. And you yourself have been talking to people, and they will not be talking about this if it's not true.
Yes.
How can they invent all of these stories? Cannot. No?
So, do you have, sir, a theory with regards to time slips? You're walking in a place and then suddenly you're in a different place, in a different time.
Oh yes, I have several stories that are fantastic about that. It even happened to one, Rani Raimundo. Rani Raimundo, the entertainer. He's a singer.
Yes.
It happened to him. What happened to I wrote stories, about 2 stories or 3, of people who have gone to a place that never existed. No? And there were two women, for example, in Americans who went to Mexico, and they they stop at Acapulco. And since they have not been there, so okay, let's stay overnight here and then let's go to Mexico in the morning. So they stayed in a place, that a beautiful hotel. They stayed at the seventh floor, and they even asked soft drink
Mm.
and sandwich, and they ate. No? And then in the evening, there were some manifestations. They got so scared. There were some, yeah, a manifestations of spirit. So they left. No, they wanted to. They got out of the hotel right away
Mm.
and booked for the next flight to Mexico. And the attendant said, "It's very sorry, señorita, but nobody stays here more than one night in this hotel." And after 1 week or 2 weeks, they were coming back to the States, and they passed by Acapulco again, no? From going from Mexico City to Acapulco. And they had to drop by there again as a stopover. One of the girls, one of the women, got interested to find out what is that place they went to. She knows the street, the name of the street, and there is a Fanta Orange sign billboard across the hotel. So she went there. She found the billboard. There was nothing on the in front of it. It was empty. So she asked the taxi driver, "Where is this hotel that looks like this?" And very may uniform pa yung mga security guards and all the doormen. And the taxi driver said, "There's no such hotel in this place, mademoiselle." And he said, "No, I was there only 2 weeks ago. I was there, and this hotel was there, and we even went there and ate." No? So I said, and this driver said, "I have been driving in this city for the past 20 years, and I have never seen such a hotel that you described." So they went into another dimension, and I have at least 3 stories of that time travel.
So it's possibly a parallel dimension, or
Yeah, if you look at if you're fond of no, reading quantum physics,
Mhm.
or quantum mechanics, there is the theory of parallel universe. They call it the multiverse,
Multiverse, yes.
or the many worlds theory. Is a theory in quantum physics. And I said that what's happening here can be happening also in some other dimension, the parallel universe. This is a theory in quantum physics right now. It's not a laughing matter. No? It's a serious theory being investigated by quantum physicists right now.
We will look more into that. Sir, we've taken up your time, but we have a few questions if it's okay, sir.
Yeah, okay. A few more questions and then let's cut it off.
I'll ask one of the questions. Nahihiya sila, sir. So,
Bakit sila nahihiya? No, they should not take it. You can ask any question.
starstruck kami, starstruck.
There's nothing embarrassing.
This is one of the questions from one of the groups. Being an expert, I mean, with your years of experience, do you have advice for people who are just starting out?
My advice, be skeptical about it. Don't believe everything right away.
Okay.
Try to prove before you believe. This is what happened to me. I studied philosophy. I taught logic in college. I cannot believe anything without proof. And I tell you, the things I'm talking about, I can prove. But I didn't believe in them at first. I was very skeptical. I was laughing at people who believe in these things until I myself became a believer because I had proof. Only after I have proof that I believe in it. Same thing with people who are doing research on this. Don't believe everything you see. Prove it first.
Sir, last question. What do you think they can do to help? I mean, probably to enlighten other people or to. You mentioned it in one of your Facebook posts, I think, that you have spirit guides because you feel you have this mission. You have a mission to for something. So, for people who have the same abilities and gifts, what do you think they should do to help or open minds?
Well, as I said, they have to be careful about this because there's a lot of nonsense in this field, and but it has some basis. I have seen it. I have seen the basis. I've seen the rationale behind these things, and that's why I believe in them. But at the beginning, I wanted to debunk these things. No, I didn't believe in this. But things have begun to happen to me. As I said, like unbelievable things. Even healing. I have healed several people, and I've communicated with spirits. I've seen ghosts. I I have been able to diagnose illness of people. Ang dami eh. Uh, there are so many things that happened to me, which if it did not happen, I won't believe. So in investigating this, be very careful not to believe everything until you can prove it to yourself.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for your time.
Thank you also. But the others didn't ask any question. No?
Gina, you have a question. Go ahead.
At last,
Hi, Sir Jamie.
Gina,
Um,
yes.
Actually, fan mo ako since high school ako.
thank,
Like,
thank you, Gina. Thank you so much.
ginugunting ko yung mga Tuesday mo na articles sa Inquirer.
Really, wow. I should give you a medal.
Wala pang internet noon, so alam ko high school yun. Na Yolanda lang po, kaya nawala.
My column in the Inquirer no longer comes out printed edition. They moved me to the digital. So you can still read me in the digitals online. I was protesting this, but
I've been
they
reading
said
it,
it's
sir. Binabasa ko pa din
yeah,
siya.
good. Thank you. Nasa digital ngayon. Every Tuesday. Yes. Yeah, what's your question, Gina?
Sir Jimmy, hindi naman siya, parang gusto ko lang ikwento mo ulit yung nakita mo yung several reincarnation mo.
Oh,
Kasi alam mo sa mga books, I've read a few, parang nagbago talaga yung paniniwala ko dahil doon.
yeah, I didn't believe in reincarnation because I was raised a Catholic. No, I studied in a Catholic school. I even taught religion. I was a catechist in high school, very religious. And I studied in a Catholic school from elementary, high school, and college. You can just imagine, the kind of thinking that I have. Very Catholic, no? Very conservative. And I couldn't believe in these things. But then, because of some proof, I did not see my past life as any regression. And it was in 1979 that somebody asked me to go to a fortune teller in Quezon City, in Novaliches. And I said, I was not interested in fortune telling to tell the future. I said, no, this woman can tell you also about the past, about your past life. I got interested, although I was not believer in reincarnation. I was interested in the subject. So I went with this friend of mine, a writer, a well-known writer, to see this woman. And she died already, by the way, so don't ask me to introduce you to her. It's going to be difficult to communicate with her now. She didn't know me. And she started talking about my past life, no? And she told me that I was a monk in Egypt 3,500 years ago. And I was a keeper of esoteric wisdom. And I was giving this wisdom only to the initiates and to the pharaohs, and keeping it away from the public, keeping them ignorant about this esoteric knowledge and hidden truths. And that explains to me why in this lifetime I'm giving away knowledge. I've written about 18 books, and my books have been translated into German, into Japanese, and also Polish languages. No, and I have lectured all over the world. So I'm spreading knowledge not only here but over the world. And I couldn't understand that, and it was only after I knew my past life that I understood. When I went to Egypt, I went to Cairo, and I've seen the pyramids. I was very at home in Cairo. Although it was very magulo at that time, magulo ang Cairo, no? Dami nakawan and all that, no? Hustlers and all that. But I felt very at home. I don't read novels, but the first novel that I read was The Egyptian, which is 785 pages, no? And I hate novels because ang dami sinasabi. You can even say it in one or two sentences, tapos na, no? But they will tell you in 300 pages.
Flourish pa. Oo.
Oh, di ba? So I'm not interested in fiction. But the first fiction book that I read was The Egyptian by Mika Waltari in the 70s. In the 70s, I didn't believe in this. I gravitated towards Egypt, interest in Egypt, interest in the Middle East and Greece. I found out also I had the Greek incarnation before. So this woman was telling me everything about myself when I didn't believe in it. And so my friend said, "What do you think of her?" I said, "I think she's crazy." I told my friend, "Why?" "I don't believe anything she said about me. How can I prove it?" So for 10 years, it was something that I didn't believe until gradually, as I started examining myself and examining my interest, I noticed a pattern, which is I have collections of Egyptian things and very much attached to Egypt. And because I was a monk during the time of Ramses II, You see?
Mm-mm.
Meron pang love story yan. I fell in love with a woman of high, beautiful, but of noble birth.
Mm-mm.
I fell in love, and that should not be because I was a monk.
Yes.
One time, this woman was riding a chariot, and she fell and died. Now she said to me, this fortune teller, because of your love for this woman, you stole the staff of life, which can only be used by the high priest, which can revive the dead. No? It's a magic with an ant cross. No? It's a staff. I stole that and revived the girl. But then the high priest learned about what I did, told it to the Pharaoh Ramses, and we were both banished out of Cairo, out of Egypt, siguro. So that's what happened. But this woman said, "Don't worry. This time you're going to meet Ramses II again, and this time your meeting will be a pleasant one." And I met Ramses II in this lifetime. But that's another story.
Yes.
Yay!
I would like people to visit your Facebook page and read your articles for more information about your meeting with Ramses.
Yeah, on Facebook, yes. And my seminars. I have seminars. Yeah, my next seminar, it will be on May 29, an on Zoom, online seminar on self-healing through visualization. Natapos na yung, in the first weekend, I had telepathy, and then soulmates, karma, and reincarnation. And then this last weekend, I'll have this seminar. It's 2-hour seminar, how to heal yourself using your mind, using imagery. And for those who are interested, may call up the telephone numbers 8810-7245 or 0998-988-6292 for instructions how to enroll in the seminar. Thank you for this opportunity.
Thank you also for allowing us to harass you with our questions.
Anytime, just let me know.
Thank
Okay?
you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you for
sir.
everybody.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you again, Sir Jimmy, for giving us the time to question you about the things that keep us up at night. Sir Jimmy has an upcoming seminar this May 29, Self-Healing Through Self-Visualization. It's a 2-hour seminar to be conducted on Zoom. He says it's how to heal yourself using your mind, using imagery. For more information, you could visit their Facebook page, Inner Mind Learning Institute. You could also call 881-07245 or 0998-988-6292. If you want to read more of Sir Jimmy's articles, you can also search for Jaime Licauco on Google, and Inquirer has an extensive archive on his articles. If there's one thing we should take away from this interview, it's that we should also be skeptical about the things we hear. Personally, when I listen and have these guests on our podcast, I can't be the skeptic in the conversation. I have to respect their experiences, their stories, and I'm not in a position to judge them or question them of what they've experienced because that is what they've been experiencing their whole lives. We're here to listen and to share it to all of you. So the burden of being skeptical lies on you, the listener. You have to question, you verify, and you doubt. For most of the psychics and sensitives we've talked to, they'll be the first one to tell me that they're usually out to debunk these things as well. Even if they see all these strange and unnatural things, it is still in their nature to doubt and verify it first. So I leave you with that thought. If you have unusual experiences you want to share, please message us on Facebook or email us at paranormalsph@gmail.com. As I mentioned, I will not debunk or question your story. Given the short time we have here on Earth, I'm only here to enjoy the mysteries of life that you have to share. We keep things anonymous, so don't worry if you feel that your relatives will listen to this podcast. The Paranormal Podcast is engineered and produced by F90 Productions. Please rate and review our show on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or whichever podcast platform you are using. As always, thank you for listening and stay safe.